Hello, my name is Jonna Wheeler. My company is Whole Family Health and Nutrition. I am a certified eating psychology coach. My specialty is yeast overgrowth, systemic candidiasis, and leaky gut. In this presentation, I will explain why Candida is so difficult to eradicate. Allow me to introduce to you the Candida family. Candida albicans is the most commonly isolated species that account for about 65% of fungal infections in humans. But there are other less well-known members of the Candida family. Candida parapsilosis accounts for 15 to 24% of fungal infections. Candida tropicalis originates in tropical regions. Before the 1980s, amphotericin was the standard therapy for invasive fungal infections. However, it is often poorly tolerated, associated with infusion-related acute reactions and kidney damage. Candida lusitania has emerged during the last 20 years as an important pathogen originating in hospitals. It is resistant to amphotericin medication. Azole antifungal medications emerged in the 1980s as a new class of antifungal agents. They act against Candida by inhibiting the synthesis of cell membrane. Candida dublinicis was originally found in AIDS patients, but is now found in immunocompetent individuals. For now, it is susceptible to a few azole antifungal medications like fluconazole. Between 1979 and 2000, the incidence of fungal sepsis increased threefold. New azole antifungals were developed. They act by inhibiting the enzyme responsible for glucan synthesis in the fungal cell wall. Candida krusei is an emerging pathogen originating in hospitals. It has a natural resistance to standard antifungal medications. It is often found in patients who have had prior fluconazole exposure, which indicates a mutation. Mortality due to Candida krusei is much higher than the more common Candida albicans. In the United States, Candida glabrata increased as a cause of invasive candidemia. The species resistant to antifungals include Candida glabrata, Candida rugosa, Candida krusei, and Candida tropicalis. Defeneron acts as a chitin synthesis inhibitor. It interferes with the chitin needed for Candida cells to form a hard shell or exoskeleton. In 2000, the fungin class of antifungals were developed. In recent years, several population-based surveys in the US, Canada, Europe, and Australia have reported an increased incidence of life-threatening Candida infections in the bloodstream. In the Journal of Clinical Microbiology, a nationwide study revealed that the annual incidence of candidemia increased 3.5% during the 1980s. The incidence of candidemia between 2000 and 2010 was significantly higher than in the 1990s. Data on the total nationwide use of antifungal agents shows the annual consumption of fluconazole increased by 141% between 2000 and 2011. This was in Iceland. the incidence of candidemia in Iceland has continued to increase at a rate of 2.2% per year. In the U.S., the incidence of candidemia have been 3 times higher than anywhere else in the world, with extremely high incidence reported in Baltimore, Maryland. The second highest was in Denmark, a whole country as compared to a city. We're not talking about third world countries here. The annual incidence of fungal sepsis in the United States continues to increase every year. These are hospital reports of Candida infections, not the incidence of systemic candidiasis among those who are outside of hospital environments. When patients do not respond to one class of antifungal medications, clinicians resort to using combinations of antifungal agents of different classes, and they alternate several medications in hopes of finding the magic bullet. Natural herbal remedies and supplements do not perform well for sustaining long-term improvement. And prescription antifungal medications do not perform as well as natural remedies long-term. They do not cure or provide protection against recurrence, and they cause further damage to a leaky intestinal wall. Epidemiological studies note that in recent years there has been a shift towards non-albicans Candida species that possess increased resistance to antifungals. In fact, they say that treatment with antifungal medications increase the risk of infection by non-albicans Candida species because of their decreased susceptibility to these drugs. They go on to say the exact role of the increased use of different classes of antifungals in this shift remains controversial. This is happening in hospitals, under their noses, and they can't see it. They can't agree that the continued use of antifungals is responsible for causing Candida species to mutate. Antifungals create resistant strains of Candida in the same way that antibiotic-resistant bacteria have developed over the decades. The doctor's answer to antifungal drug resistance is to increase the prescribed dosage. It is obvious to me that they have no idea what they are dealing with or how to treat Candida. If they had a clue, they would see that their antifungal drugs and management strategies for invasive fungal infections have contributed to an epidemic. Their main focus and goal is to get yeast out of the body, no matter the collateral damage to the body. But they are creating an even more virulent, indomitable, and insidious wee beast. If you keep doing what you've always done, you will continue to get the same results. If you want different results, you have to think outside the box and come up with something different. Candida species are presently the 4th leading cause of bloodstream infections originating in hospitals in the United States. But doctors are clueless about what causes systemic candidiasis yeast infections outside the hospital setting. What they don't understand is that people become critically ill and immunocompromised because they've already had fungal dysbiosis for years. And it has progressed through the 5 stages of systemic candidiasis. Watch my video, How Did I Get So Sick?, to learn more about this. Candida infections outside the hospital-acquired setting was generally abandoned by the medical profession. Many doctors in private family practice were ill-equipped to address this condition with their patients. Many companies took advantage of this void by target marketing desperate people who are looking for effective antifungals, selling products that make a profit for them but do relatively nothing for the Candida sufferer. They promise a cure but fail to deliver, because Candida are not as cooperative as the makers and marketers of anti-Candida products would like to believe. They all agree with the strategy of using antifungals to kill yeast, whether medications or herbal, or a combination of both. They rotate antifungals in an attempt to keep Candida confused. Believe me, Candida are anything but confused. They have a very elaborate, highly organized, and well-developed plan to survive. The cellular membrane of Candida is made up of polysaccharides. This layer is no different than the composition of plant cell walls. Beneficial bacteria, called flora, is a plant. Whatever kills Candida can also kill beneficial bacteria, which are critical for absorbing nutrients we need, maintaining intestinal wall integrity, and keeping pathogenic microbes under control. The inner cell membrane is protected by a chitin layer. The chitin layer is a similar structure, but has nitrogen-containing side branches, which increases its strength. Chitin is found in Candida cell walls in varying degrees, depending on the environmental stresses that Candida encounter. In the presence of chitin synthesis inhibitor medication like lufeneron, Candida has the ability to manipulate the chitin content to preserve the integrity of the cell wall membrane. Chitin synthesis inhibitors also interfere with the formation of cell walls in many beneficial bacteria. It can disturb the epithelial barrier and epithelial transport processes, which can be a major factor in the pathogenesis of intestinal inflammation and inflammatory bowel disease. In other words, your leaky gut can't heal because every dose of medication is attacking the wall of your intestines and keeping your gut leaky. Trying to kill Candida makes it adapt and become more resilient. Candida is inherently resistant to antifungal drugs and antibiotics because these medications cause Candida to create a biofilm layer that employs protein to make a higher molecule weight polysaccharide compound. This exopolysaccharide slime forms an exoskeleton that protects it like a suit of armor. Candida are an anaerobic oxidase negative, which means they don't use oxygen to produce energy. In fact, oxygen kills Candida. Candida don't exist in an isolated part of the body, like the intestines. It dives deep into the body, taking up residence in your muscle tissue, where capillaries end and blood flow and oxygen are so low that nothing can reach it. It can live very comfortably in the deepest parts of your body and stay dormant for years, allowing you to think it's gone. When you end your Candida treatment and return to consuming Candida's favorite foods and beverages like processed food, sugar, or alcohol, or you have a stressful week that causes your immune system to weaken further, the Candida reveals itself with an explosion of symptoms and comes back out at you with a vengeance. You thought you got rid of it. But the frightening reality is that it was hiding in stealth mode all along. For this reason, attempts to kill Candida have presented with short-lived results at best. But they frequently cause more harm to the body in the process. Rarely, if ever, has a patient undergone treatment for systemic yeast infection and it never came back. The Candida was suppressed and went deeper, causing new symptoms and illnesses that are extremely difficult to treat. The patient is given a different diagnosis when in actuality yeast overgrowth may be the root cause. Each course of antibiotics and antifungals encourage Candida to mutate and dive deeper into the body, advancing yeast overgrowth into the systemic phase and its progression through the 5 stages of systemic candidiasis. Systemic candidiasis invades several organs, including the liver, kidneys, spleen, heart, lungs, eyes, brain, and causes a wide range of chronic diseases. It can cause death, but oftentimes the cause of death is not attributed to systemic Candida yeast overgrowth. Instead, it is given a different name or diagnosis when in reality it's a complication of systemic candidiasis. I said before that oxygen kills Candida, but IV oxygen therapy is limited. It can only reach where the blood goes. It cannot reach the surface of mucous membranes, the internal skin, where Candida thrives. Also, IV oxidation damages the veins. It's like putting a rubber band in the freezer. When I was diagnosed with systemic candidiasis in 1994, my naturopathic physician said to me, "The final stage of systemic candidiasis is the most difficult to treat." But he didn't tell me any specifics or why that was so. He started me on prescription antifungal drugs and a very strict Candida diet. I got progressively worse. We exhausted every option, and the only thing that seemed to help at all was IV oxidation. I went to him a minimum of once a month for 20 years. And I can definitely say his knowledge about Candida was very limited. I had a total of 1,068 IV oxidation treatments and 60 hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy treatments, totaling $87,840. And then he said to me, "The IVs have damaged your veins, and you can't get them anymore." I have run out of ideas and I'm sorry, but I can't help you anymore. He basically sent me home to die. If oxygen therapy was going to work, it would have. I've learned the limitations of doctors and treatments on this journey. Doctors and articles will tell you Candida is the most common invasive fungal infection worldwide, and it's associated with a substantial morbidity rate of 40 to 60% and high mortality rates of 60 to 90%. The prognosis is very poor, and reversing systemic candidiasis is not always possible, especially in the case of chronic infection and long illness. I am living proof that it is true and also not true. Candida defies destruction. In its intended form, Candida has a very useful purpose. It was designed to attack and kill pathogenic microbes in the GI tract. That's why it's so virulent and indomitable, because it has to be tougher than the bad bugs it was designed to kill. Candida species laugh at antibiotics and antifungal medications and herbs because it can mutate into 11 different morphages and spontaneously switch from one to another to protect itself from what you are taking. The line from the movie Steel Magnolias, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger," applies to Candida. Candida species are able to translate their genetic code, and the alternative translation is passed to its spores, who can then alter their DNA and adapt, and developed into a new species of Candida that is more virulent and less affected by the remedies used on their parents. This novel genetic code is a mechanism for more rapid adaptation to their environment, as well as playing an important role in the evolution of the genus Candida by creating genetic barriers. The Candida diet. Treating Candida yeast overgrowth is as controversial as the disease itself. Every expert has a different opinion about what is the most effective treatment. Most people agree that it is absolutely necessary to starve yeast with a special diet. They eliminate carbohydrates, sugar, and starchy foods. This puts the sufferer on a ketogenic diet, which is dangerous. Those who sell their own products and plans encourage you by saying, just take this product and eat this way, and it will kill Candida. Some have ridiculous guidelines to maintain a anti-Candida lifestyle, which includes stringent dietary restrictions that have no basis in common sense. And others go to the other extreme, saying you can gradually reintroduce your old diet. All of this is rubbish. Contradicting information leaves the sufferer confused and overwhelmed. They're looking for answers and solutions, and they're not finding them. I know because I used to be one of them. The truth is, you can't starve Candida. It lives on glucose. So if you stop eating carbohydrate foods, or don't eat anything for days, it will dive into your tissues. It will turn the glycogen in your muscles back into glucose to feed itself. It will literally eat you instead. When you die, the Candida will still be alive in your body, and they will eat your remains as part of the decomposition process after death. So there's no way you can possibly starve Candida. This is why Candida diets don't work. When you eliminate a food from your diet, you eliminate the nutrition that those foods provide. Your immune system will suffer even more. The Candida diet is an unrealistic lifestyle that requires unimaginable willpower that can't be maintained. Candida will force you to binge on carbs because it demands to be fed. It will flare up when you consume its favorite foods. I don't share this information with you to scare you. I research and educate, so you know what you're dealing with. You must know your enemy to defeat them. You need to eat in such a way that you get the nutrition you need, and Candida gets the breadcrumbs off the table. If you don't feed them something, they will eat you. Candida cleanses contain ingredients that are very harsh on leaky gut walls. Cascara sagrada and senna cause terrible digestive distress. Goblet cells located throughout the epithelial layer of the intestines secretes mucus that helps protect the intestinal lining from digestion. Slippery elm is an antiseptic which strips your intestines of its natural mucus and replaces it with foreign mucogenic properties. When addressing Candida yeast overgrowth and leaky gut, the advice you will hear most often is to recolonize the intestines with good bacteria by taking probiotic or eating fermented foods. Eating yogurt and fermented foods cannot provide the amount of live friendly bacteria or probiotic needed to restore beneficial bacteria populations for several reasons. Hydrochloric acid in the stomach kills many live cultures. Preservatives and mold inhibitors in the foods you eat will kill what you take. Maybe not at the moment that you take it, but in the next meal. But there's something that is often overlooked about this situation. You could take a refrigerated, live, high-quality probiotic supplement in capsule form that's designed to release into the intestines intact with many strains of bacteria, but that can't reverse this process by itself. I know because I tried it for 2 decades. That was part of my Candida fighting regimen. The bifido and lactobacteria in probiotics cannot set up residence in a leaky gut. It's like expecting to move back into your home after an F5 tornado has gone through your neighborhood. When the balance between friendly bacteria and Candida in the GI tract is lost, this sets the stage for Candida albicans to multiply without any opposition, and it will take over. Candida multiplies 6 times faster than probiotic bacteria. So you can't take enough probiotic to repopulate the gut fast enough to stay ahead of Candida. Restoring that balance is not achievable with diet or supplementation alone, because it's a race that the friendly bacteria simply cannot win. I know you are sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. You have put your hope, energy, and invested a lot of money on pills, physicians, and treatments trying to restore your health. I've been there, done that too. It's tough to give it one more try, to hope again. Perhaps it's become a do-or-die proposition for you. I know it got to that point for me. My extensive experience and repeated trial and error taught me what doesn't work and why. But I also know what works. My goal is to help you get it right the first time from now on. I want you to know, first and foremost, that your struggle with body, food, and health is not your fault. There is a very great possibility that you were set up for health challenges before you were ever conceived. And it has very little to do with genetics. Since then, it's been the information that your parents and then you have been working with. That is what has been causing your striving. For more information, please watch my video, How Did I Get So Sick? You can find it on my website and YouTube channel. Any approach to restoring health should take into consideration the whole body. I believe that if a healing strategy doesn't actually activate the life force that is present in every cell in your body and actually help the body heal so that it can do what it was designed to do, then it's not a healing strategy. The goal is homeostasis, not symptom or disease management. My approach awakens the body's innate ability to regulate, balance, and protect itself. No matter what kind of chronic illness or disease you have, whether you experience digestive issues or not, you will not experience any lasting benefit unless you first restore your gut to pre-disease conditions. Systemic candidiasis and leaky gut occur together. If left misdiagnosed or not treated, this combination can predispose the body to chronic illness and autoimmune disease. There's more going on with you than just killing Candida and getting rid of symptoms. My total body approach to helping you restore health includes all of who you are, mind and body. I give you tools to help you achieve your goals so that you can maintain your progress for the rest of your life. My goal is to help you get well so you don't need me anymore. I want to help more people, not just the same people. Many health practitioners create clients for life. I want to restore the life in my clients. You are unique, so my work with you is customized to meet your individual and specific needs. Laughter is the best medicine sometimes, and so I would like to share with you one of my bloopers. And then we'll get back to finishing this video. I'm going to take a funny break. Mortality due to Candida krusei, fungemia, fungemia. I will share with you my battle song. My body is a battlefield and this is war. Surrender is not an option. I refuse to surrender to the extent that I will not let the Candida feast on my body in death. I will be cremated and send this diabolical, indomitable, insidious, despicable, blood-sucking wee beasts to the fiery hell where they belong. Take no prisoners. I will win this war. Are you ready to take back your body and your life? If you want to reach out to me, please send me an email to schedule your free 30-minute introductory consultation. I look forward to serving you. I wish you optimal health, safe travels, and many blessings.